Almost forgot the most important thing was hit record. Check. Yep. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio designed by Automute.com in Coldwater, Michigan. The lead stories are: a SpaceX manned flight is expected in May. A congressional representative wants to overhaul the FTC. It's being shown that foreign hackers are stepping up their game against government and private businesses in the United States. And of course, a new and upcoming EU law could have dire circumstances to content creators. I want to welcome you to episode 1424 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, February 10th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. We're live once again at geeknewscentral.com/live or live.geeknewscentral.com. You can go over there and check out the show. So we're live on that page. Of course, we're live on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch, and a variety of other places as well. So you can join us there when we're live, and typically go live between 7:30 and 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. For all of you that are brand new listeners to the show, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for checking the podcast out. And of course, we want to make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content on the website. That's going to allow you to get subscribed to the show, either via Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Android, Stitcher, by email, or standard RSS feed. So definitely check that out. Get over to geeknewscentral.com, and when you're on the main page as well, you can sign up for the newsletter. That'll allow you to stay in contact with the show. Basically, I put a email out immediately following the podcast. It explains everything that happened in the podcast, including the links to all the articles. Of course, you can read all the great content on the website as well that my content creators are putting up there. And you can listen on blueberry.com or your smart home device by saying the magic word to launch it and play the podcast, Geek News Central. You can join our chat room. We have a Mastodon chat server at geeknews.chat, or you can join our Discord channel. Discord is fun as well, as long as our Slack channel. If you want to join our Slack channel, that's really, really simple. All you got to do is send me an email to geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. That's a place to contact me via email as well. So you want to be part of the Slack channel, or you can follow me on Twitter at Geek News. And of course on Facebook as well. Partner shows, they're all linked at geeknewscentral.com. That's the GNC Week in Review by Kirk Corliss, the Gadget Professor by Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site written by my team at Geek News Central, the New Media Show co-hosted by myself and Mr. Rob Greenlee, and of course, the Podcast Legend Show, which is pretty much at this point pod faded. So, of course, we want to thank all of you for being here. And if you want to check out some of our swag, go over to cafepress.com/Ohana store. And if you guys look over my shoulder here just a little bit, you'll see that there is a new pink lava lamp. It was supposed to be like purple, but it looks really pink to me because the other one quit blobbing. It just wouldn't move around anymore. So this one over my shoulder, for those of you watching, I turned it on about an hour and a half ago, and it's just starting to do what it's supposed to do. We'll see if it lasts. But again, if you're on Facebook watching, make sure you check in. Hello, Mike. Hello, Rita. And everyone else, please say hi. Definitely appreciate it when you do. Hey, of course, this show is sponsored by our good friends at GoDaddy. You just go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can save a lot of money. And when you're on that webpage, there's some codes there for you to use, whether it be 30% off a new product purchase, a $4.99.com, a $1 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or a $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain. Again, $12 get you online, get you started. You can become a blogger. You're halfway to becoming a podcaster by getting a WordPress website set up. Really, that is the key here. And if you want to put something online, do a business online. Of course, you can always use the free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business or business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. That 30% off code saves me a pile of money on products and services over at GoDaddy. They have more things than hosting accounts or domains. You just really, if you need to get a business off the ground, these are the codes that I want you to use. Share with your friends, family members, people that you know. And, you're helping the show out as well when you do that. So definitely check all these codes out. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And that gets you connected. Again, share the page. Tell your friends about the code. It's just like an in-kind donation of the podcast. So let me get you all caught up here. What's going on? This is a busy week. Had a new me show on Saturday. I think it was one of the better ones we've had in a while. I like that. And then I have some studio work to be done. And I don't know if I've talked to you all about this or not, but at CES 2020, I decided to do a new format, and we talked about it here on interviewing businesses. So I'm starting to get a lot of gear that's being sent in, and I wasn't quite ready to implement the new interview model. And really what it is I'm making changes to the demo studio. And I've ordered the gear. Some of it's come in. I had some surprises. I had to order a new Mac Mini because I'm going to have a Skype channel over there. And the new Mac Mini only has a headphone jack, no line in. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm scrounging around here for one of those USB ones where I can do a line in and audio out. So I was scrounging around in my drawer here and couldn't find one today. So $9.99 to Amazon and get that on Friday. But anyway, long story short, basically I'm going to be able to have a place to do the demo and talk about the product, and then have a company rep come in on Skype, and then we can converse back and forth, just as we do here when I have a guest on for the new media show or have Rob on. We've able to have a discuss, have them up on the screen. And so it's kind of a work in progress. We'll see how it all wires up. But I'm pretty excited about being able to do this. It makes the demo room really more functional and very easily to revert to just only a demo room. Roll in a monitor, roll out a monitor. It all looks the same. So that's kind of the plan. And anyway, so that's what's going on with the studio. And plus, we're doing a live stream from Podcast Movement Evolutions on Sunday, I believe. We were trying to just figure out if it was Saturday or Sunday. No, it is Saturday because everything's done on Sunday. And so we'll be live, I think, at 4:30 Eastern on Facebook. We're going to use StreamYard. And I've got that all tested today, make sure that all worked. And, got batteries, and I really need to have my MacBook plugged in. So that's kind of the thing I'm worried about. Hopefully there'll be a plug in there that we can plug in, and because I don't know if it'll last an hour you're doing live with just on the, because it's going to be charging. It's going to be, basically carrying a couple of USB loads as well. So anyway, it's all tested. It all works. So we'll see what happens. And then really crazy heavy standard work day here. So anyway, that's kind of what's happening. So it's kind of been going on. Definitely appreciate y'all being here for the show. And I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off here after work tonight and getting stuff done. And Saturday crawling around on the floor, hiding cables. And you guys can't see them, but I don't want to, I've put a lot of time into making this thing look the way I want it to look, and adding these extra components, trying to do the same attention to detail for that as well. So anyway, so I hope the goal wasn't to spend any money on upgrades on the studio, but I think this is a good one and should, quote on, cross my fingers here, be it. But probably going to put that new Mac Mini on that computer and put the old one over there because we use this one more here than over there. So we'll retire this one in this cabinet back to the other side. But anyway, that's what's going on. Thanks for being here, being part of the family. Those of you that are on Facebook, make sure you say hi. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of this show. Got a whole bunch of stuff to happen here. It's being reported by Engadget that the first crewed SpaceX flight could happen is around May 7th. And this is really, you think about this, is exciting. Very, very, very exciting that we could get to the point of finally not being dependent on the Russians to go to the International Space Station. And we've been many, many, many years. What was the date of the last space shuttle launch? So it's been a long time now. Everything worked good during their testing, and I don't know, what are they saying? Are they going to take this crew all the way to the International Space Station? Good question. I don't know. So maybe they're just going to go to space and come back. But let's hope that we're ready to put humans inside that, and it's a safe ride to orbit. Of course, nothing is safe when you have a rocket strapped to your butt, really, to be honest with you. So good luck to SpaceX, and we'll see what happens around May 7th. All right, a senator is targeting Google and Facebook with an FTC overhaul plan. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri wants to dismantle the FCC and reconstitute it under the Department of Justice. He introduced a proposal that would dismantle the current structure. He says it's time for Congress to overhaul the FTC and bring it into the 21st century. The FTC in its current structure lacks teeth, the Missouri proposal says. He adds that the agency has a divided jurisdiction and wastes time in turf wars with the Department of Justice. In short, he says in its current form, the FTC is in no shape to ensure competition in today's market, let alone tomorrow. His proposal would replace the 5-member commission appointed by the president with a single director confirmed by the Senate. The agency would operate under the Department of Justice and be offered new tools that would allow it to specifically go after concerns related to large tech companies like privacy. And he criticized the FCC before for not holding companies like Facebook and Google accountable for data breaches and mishandling of consumer data. And of course, though, we know the FTC has issued record fines against Facebook and Google in the past year, but the fines were small in comparison to the annual revenue these companies generate. This proposal comes as Democrats like Senator Elizabeth Warren call for the break of these big companies, and Republicans like the president accuse the tech giants of unfairly suppressing conservative views. So, the Democrats have their own view. This guy's a Republican, I guess. The Democrats have their own ideas about how to deal with the influence of big tech firms. Representative Anna Eshoo and Zoe Lofgren, both of California, want to create a new federal agency to protect consumer privacy rights. That may not be such a bad idea, but why not do that underneath the arm of the Department of Justice? If you have laws that can be implemented, then you should be able to use the DOJ to enforce those laws. Do you really need an agency? We'll see. All right, the FTC. Foreign hackers are targeting more U.S. government agencies, the report says. And so basically, this should not come as a surprise. It's being said that Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea are the major adversaries. Now, does North Korea even have high-speed internet? Targeting the United States while hacking, as well as Cuba and several non-state actors like Hezbollah, ISIS, and Al-Qaeda. These entities are hacking or looking to leak information for political purposes, and also cited as threats in the report. With the private sector and democratic institutions increasingly under attack, this is no longer a problem the U.S. can address alone, said NCSC Director William Ivana. In a statement, it requires a whole of society response involving the private sector, informed American public, as well as our lives. I'm going to tell you, when you have lots of people trying to hack, it's part of the deal now. You just have to be super diligent and at some point something is going to be breached, and you just have to make sure that you're in a position to have limited exposure and limited data that can be gained. I know this is very hard, and a lot of these systems are connected to the internet, and there's really no way you can disconnect them. And they're even on, even though they're not on maybe they're not on the public side, they're still within a network somewhere that touches a switch that touches the internet. So I think this is just an ongoing battle, and even private internets like the military networks even those have gateways into the public domain. So I don't think anything is safe, to be honest with you. They just have to make sure that they're using the best security protocols they can and making sure they're paying those IT guys good. Hey, Gary, thanks for checking in on the show. Appreciate it. There's a good article on Torrent Freak talking about how tech giants are warning the United States against EU upload filters and site blocking. We talked a little bit about this in the past, and this kind of went by the wayside for a little bit. But global tech firms, including Google, Twitter, Facebook, are warning the U.S. government against the threat of mandatory upload filters. Industry groups believe the requirements mandated by the EU copyright directive harm the interests of U.S. companies. In addition, tech companies are concerned about pirate site blocking developments in several EU countries. This is a new article called Article 17, formerly Article 13, which requires many online services to license content from copyright holders. If that's not possible, these companies should ensure that infringing content is taken down upon upload and not re-uploaded to their service. Rights holders are real happy about this, but what it partly does is break safe harbors provisions that are widely known globally. But the Computer and Communication Industry Association, CCIA, which includes Amazon, Cloudflare, Facebook, and Google, is one of the concerned groups. And online services must implement filtering technologies in order to comply with the requirements under Article 17. While Article 17 avoids the word filter, practically speaking, content-based filtering will be required if a service to have any hope of achieving compliance. Now, here's where it affects you. So let us say that you have done a video where you're talking about making a parody, or you're trying to talk about a book or a topic or another piece of video, and you're using fair use laws to be able to show a segment of that. Well, you may not even get to the point where you can protest an upload that's being taken down, because the upload will be taken down before it ever gets public. It just won't allow it to be published. So this could stifle some free speech. It says algorithms used to monitor content and platforms can't contextualize to determine whether content was lawfully uploaded under one of the exceptions listed. The law requires platforms to err on the side of removing content. This, according to the CCIA, says this is exasperated by the concern that copyright exceptions apply to users, but not to the platforms, as tech companies argue. This means that online services can still be held liable for content users have posted lawfully. While it's not too late to stop the legislation, the CCIA urges the U.S. government to make EU member states aware of these concerns. I think they do, but they're ignoring it. Ideally, EU member states should ensure that the fallout from the new requirements is limited. For example, requiring rights holders to notify online services before they have to take action. So would you be affected here in the United States? Probably not. But if you're in the European Union and you want to post a podcast, per se, or a YouTube video, you might be blocked from doing so because it may be considered upon upload to be breaking copyright rules. So, so there's a bunch of countries trying to do some of this as well, but this is coming very, very quickly. So we'll see what happens here. And it may affect those of you in the European Union to be able to publish content online. It very well could happen. Seems to be today was a lot of space news. I'll try to knock through this very, very quick. But Iranian satellite launch fails to reach orbit. The Zafar 1 craft did not attain the speed necessary to circle Earth after liftoff. So I don't know if that means it crashed or if it's doesn't say what happened to it specifically, but it did not. I guess if it didn't make orbit, it apparently in the Iranians said, "Oh, this was a failure. Like many scientific projects, failures happen. Falcon 9, Juno 2, Atlas Proton, Antares are just a few samples of U.S. launch failures. But we are unstoppable. We have more upcoming great Iranian satellites. Okay. So anyway, Splash 2 for the Iranians. I think this is the second one or third. They blew one up on the pad. So we don't need their stuff up there circling anyway. NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. It's a good article about them, about how big the Goddard Space Flight Center is. And it basically covers a whole bunch of facilities. The Wallops Flight Facility on Virginia's Eastern Shore, the Goddard Institute of Space Studies in New York City, the Katherine Johnson Independent Verification and Validation Facility in Fairmont, West Virginia, the White Sands Complex in New Mexico. Of course, they've got a huge campus in Greenbelt, Maryland, where a huge number of people work. But it goes into basically everything that's going on with the Goddard Space Flight Center. So having one to listen to the show that works out there, love to hear from you if you do. So anyway, I'll have the link up in the show notes for you to check it out. The Space Force, yes, the Space Force. And I know some of you love this new logo they came up with. Some of you are quite, probably quite happy about this, or maybe mad. I don't know. But Space Force received $15.4 billion in the 2021 budget. That's about 60% of the White House allocates to NASA. So Space Force got $15.4 billion. It's a real thing, and got some serious money here. And of course, I think, the U.S. Space Force is administered underneath the Department of the Air Force, just like the Marines, which is part of the Department of the Navy. Semper Fi. So, anyway, what do you guys, I haven't heard any feedback. What do you guys think about this logo? For those of you listening, have you seen the logo? Go look at the logo and tell me if you like it. It's just too ironic, to be quite honest with you. Link will be up in the show notes. Also, NASA's budget proposal soars to $25 billion for 2021, with half of that for Moon and Mars campaign. The proposed 2021 fund targets lander systems, moon surface activities, and robotic Mars mission, but removes support for STEM engagement. So what does that mean? STEM engagement. I'm trying to read through this here really quickly. I should know what STEM engagement is. But anyway, we have the whole budget in place. Of course, they talk about Sophia as well. So under the White House proposal, NASA is getting no funding for its Wide Field Infrared Survey Telescope, Office of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, or STEM engagement, the Sophia Telescope, and 2 Earth science missions. Oh, that's interesting. So Sophia, here's something interesting about Sophia. When I used to spend a lot of time down in Waco, Texas, Sophia was basically being built. A large part of the structural work was done in Waco at L3 Communications. I think they're called something else now, or maybe they were called something else back then. But a lot of that work went there. So Sophia sat on the ramp for literally multiple years while they were doing the work to support that telescope and the engineering that went into it. That is an absolutely amazing aircraft, and if they're canceling Sophia, that's pretty sad. But anyway, so Sophia was a pretty incredible mission. Very expensive because it's a flying telescope, so not a cheap platform to run, but a lot of cool science done with Sophia. And you got to just Google it, SOFIA, to get a little look at it and what they've done over the years. So interesting what's going on there. Also, of course, again, big budget increase for 2021. We'll see if they get it. And lots of articles about that today. NASA also captured rare view of dancing Mars dust devil, and they say it's a monster. So link will be up in the show notes on that. I saw something on, where did I watch it? Oh, I watched it on Disney Plus, I think. There was a documentary on Spirit and Opportunity. Great hour and 30 or 40 minutes I spent watching that was really, 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 I was impressed. I really, really was. It was great to see and talk about the history. A lot of things maybe many of us haven't heard about Spirit and Opportunity, which of course are now, relics and sitting on on the Mars plane and will be there for millions of years. So, but anyway, very, very good documentary on Spirit and Opportunity that we talked about so much during this show, and talked about some of the challenges they had when they got stuck and stuff that maybe we kind of missed or have forgotten. But anyway, I think that was on Disney Plus. I saw that, maybe under National Geographic. But anyway, it's a great documentary if you want to watch something. Well, because of the coronavirus, Sony has withdrawn from Mobile World MWC, the Mobile World Conference in Barcelona. LG, NVIDIA, Amazon are all pulling out of the show. TCL has canceled its press conferences. So I guess the Shenzhen China-based company will still attend the show, but no press releases. And so let me just say something about TCL. It's probably one of on the TV side, probably one of the best bargain TVs you can buy. But anyway, they're talking about the stuff for the mobile stuff. But anyway, link will be up in the show notes. According to the BBC, a man who helped the Queen send her first email has died. Computer scientist Peter Kirsten, dubbed the European father of the internet, died from a brain tumor last month. He played a vital role in the creation of the Internet Protocol, which lets computers network share information. And he set up the Queen's first official email account, HME2, and guided her through the process of sending her first message. And anyway, the link will be up in the show notes on that. Apple's epic patent troll fight drags on as appeal court strikes down latest request. So Apple has won some, lost some. This is where they were ordered to pay $506 million to the notorious patent troll Vernet X. And Reuters reports on the latest step in the convoluted multi-year legal battle between the two companies. Basically, they've had some rulings that went against Apple, but they are going to still be going forward and reconsidering the payment amounts and all that stuff. So anyway, the lawyers continue to get paid, and the patent troll is sitting there greedily rubbing their hands together. Apple's been fined $27 million in France for slowing down old iPhones. And this stems from back in 2017 when Apple intentionally throttled the performance of older iPhones to preserve its battery life, even though it wasn't a noticeable change for some. A lot of users did find it inconvenient. So France has fined them $27 million. Sprint has its first smartwatch for kids, comes with location tracking. The $144 watch is less expensive than similar competitors. And I'm looking at the face of this, and maybe you could get a kid up until, I don't think you're going to get any kid beyond about 7 to wear one of these because it's kind of goofy. It says it's ages 4 to 12. I don't know if it has different faces or not, but the face I'm looking at that's on the screen is probably good for like a 5-year-old maybe, but I don't know if they've got additional face. You would think that they would, but anyway, $144 with the location tracking for moms and dads who want to put a watch on your kids to be able to keep track of where they're at. Amazon is still crushing Google and Apple in the smart speaker market. Alexa devices make up 70% of home smart speaker market. And both Apple and Google are struggling to come close. And I tell you what I find with my devices. I find that Alexa stays connected to my Wi-Fi more than Microsoft, Google. I haven't had trouble with any app with my Apple device, but Google and the Microsoft devices, Cortana specifically, are always disconnected from the internet. I'm having to resync them. Drives me crazy. Where I do not have this problem with Alexa. And but anyway, this should not come as a surprise. They've had these priced so cheap that I think more than one. Most homes have more than one. I was listening to a favorite podcast of mine recently, the No Agenda, and they were really talking negatively about Slack. And Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak are really pounding on how we've all been, quote unquote, Slackified. And I'll be honest with you, for my company to get away from using email as much as we were and be able to, it has plus and minuses, don't get me wrong. And, but it's really a godsend product, allowing our teams to have their own channels, people discuss stuff, it's a support team, asking the dev team may not listen all the time, but it's at least we have this good conversation and there's not emails and phones ringing. And it's been a great product for us. IBM has picked Slack over Microsoft Teams for 350,000 employees. Congratulations to Slack. This is a big, big win. I mean, this is ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. This is winner, winner, chicken dinner. And Slack stock was skyrocketed 20% after making IBM its biggest account yet. And congratulations to them. Here we go. One of those products I love and use every day. I should have bought stock. I really should have. How much did it jump to? Does it say how much Slack stock is? Maybe someone in the chat can help me out here. But man, $26.11. Of course, it was high as $37.50, but this today was a big jump. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. $22.50 to like $26.11. That was a good investment day for somebody. So anyway, congratulations to Slack. Amazon, they're not happy. They want to question Trump over his role in the $10 billion DoD contract, which was, quote unquote, the Jedi contract, which was ultimately awarded to Microsoft. And basically, they have sued. They wanted to depose the president and 6 other officials. The company hopes to question the president about his involvement in the bidding process, including private conversations, instructions given related to the war, and efforts to harm Amazon and AWS. In court documents unsealed, Amazon says looking to depose individuals who were instrumental in the Jedi selection process, including Dana Deasy, the Department of Defense Chief Information Officer, Defense Secretary Mark Esper, and former Defense Secretary James Mattis. I'd be honest with you, most military contracts, there are a lot of factors that go into who gets the contract. And it's based upon ability to deliver, number of, and they look at makeup of companies and who would make up the roles and how much each of those roles would cost. And it's very, very detailed. When they do a contract, they'll say, oh, you can have 50 engineers, you can have 25 programmers, you can have 15 tech support people. It goes really in, and this is how much each of those positions are going to cost. I mean, it's layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy, and a whole bunch of stuff goes into. And believe me, I have been involved in making inputs to statement of works before on federal stuff, and it sucks. It is no fun. It is no fun to do this stuff. And regardless of what any official input was, it's all scored out. So I just don't. We'll see what happens here. But I'm sure they're questioning in proprietary. Am I saying that right? But time will tell. We'll see what happens with their lawsuit. The United States has charged 4 Chinese military members in the Equifax breach. Well, why don't we make sure we charge some Equifax employees as well? Anyway, the U.S. Department of Justice said that 4 members of the People's Liberation Army, an arm of the Chinese military, have been charged with breaking into the networks of Equifax. This is specifically regarding the data breach that happened in 2017, which it failed to announce until September 2017. FTC announced July 2019 that Equifax had agreed to pay at least $575 million and potentially up to $700 million. But anyway, according to the 9-count indictment handed down by a grand jury in Atlanta, 4 members of the Chinese PLA Wang Jian, Yu Jiang, Yu Ji, and Lu Li are alleged to have conspired to hack Equifax computer systems. How they know they did this? Who knows? But anyway, they've been charged and probably will not be visiting the United States any soon. Hey, Jack, I got something for you here. I'm sure you heard about this already. British Airways had broke the New York to London subsonic flight record. Had a little help from the wind. The airline has confirmed flight radar 24 data showing that one of its Boeing 747 completed New York to London Lake in just 4 hours and 56 minutes, handily beating a previous record of 5 hours and 13 minutes set by Norwegian in 2018. A typical version of this flight takes 6 hours and 13 minutes. The aircraft was helped by a stronger than usual 200 mile per hour jet stream that took the 747 up to 825 miles per hour. Technically faster than the speed of sound, but not supersonic, as the winds would have prevented the aircraft from breaking the sound barrier. Guess you guys maybe didn't know that as well, right? This wasn't even the only potential record setter. Virgin Atlantic had 2 flights that came close, one arriving just a minute later, while another was 3 minutes behind. The airline even took pot shot at British Airways on Twitter, claiming that it came close with half as many engines on an Airbus A350 1000 and half the fuel. This won't come close to being the absolute speed record. That honor still goes to British Airways, the Concorde, to complete the flight from London in just 2 hours and 53 minutes, reaching at 1,350 miles per hour on its 1996 journey. So this 747 trip is still quite an achievement, though. So, and I'm going to be heading west against the flight, against the tailwinds, or against the jet stream. So my flight to LA on Wednesday should be fun. The ACLU rejects Clearview's AI facial recognition accuracy claims. It accuses Clearview of faking endorsements to boost inaccurate data. So I don't know what this is about. Oh, the ACLU's rejected Clearview's assertion that its technology is 100% accurate based on the Civil Liberty Group's methodology for testing Amazon recognition, telling BuzzFeed that the findings are absurd on many levels and amounted to manufacturing endorsements. According to ACLU, there are key differences that make Clearview's sales pitch misleading. For one, Clearview was searching nearly 3 billion in public photos that included the politicians whose faces were part of the test, not arrest photos like the ACLU used. It didn't account for what would happen if someone wasn't in the database, and on and on and on. So anyway, ACLU has rejected their claim. Are they going to sue them? So just rejected their assertion. So anyway, Clearview is one of those companies we still have to keep an eye on. A new planetary simulator can help identify habitable alien worlds. Scientists have much less data about climates of alien worlds, have less data about what the climates of alien worlds could be, but astronomers don't have a way to get a whole lot of data anytime soon. So they're trying to come up with a model system. And NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory is working on this. And so they're trying to come up with a planetary simulator. And sounds kind of interesting, but I'll let you read the full details. Netflix films won just 2 Oscars after Parasite swept the major awards. What's interesting is Netflix spent $70 million lobbying for its films, and the lack of Oscars has to be considered a failure. They got 24 nominations, the most of any studio, and they only won 2. You know what I think this is really about? And I think Netflix has talked about this a little bit, is that the movie theaters need to make sure that the movie production groups need to make sure that movie theaters stay in business. So you can't give Netflix too much credit, or more people will start using Netflix and not going to movie theaters. Bill and Melinda Gates talk health and education in its annual letter. The Gates Foundation 2020 letter entitled Why We Swing for the Fences, reflects on the organization's 20-year history. And they talk about 45% of the foundation's philanthropy has gone to global development, and nearly a third has gone to global health. And of course, I think one of the things they spent a lot of money on was a toilet that would basically process the sewage. And of course, I know they've been fighting HIV and a lot of other stuff as well. 16% of the money was spent on U.S. programs and education. 10% of the foundation's investment went to charitable programs, mostly climate change and what else? Gender equality. So anyway, we'll link will be up in the show notes. You can read it in detail. Let's see, what else do I have? I've already covered that. All right, there is a review of the Amazon Echo Studio versus the Google Home Max, and this is a battle of the high-end smart speakers. This is done by Tech Hive. I'll have the link up in the show notes on that. Also, if you have a Mac Pro, well, they tested a Mac Pro. It reaches its limit with 6,000 open Google Chrome tabs. Now, who would do that is insane. I have about 35 or 40 open here on my MacBook now. But you can get 1.5 terabyte of RAM in that. But once you get to 6,000 tabs on Google Chrome, which is notorious in memory hog to begin with, the Mac Pro falls over. I think that's a pretty good marketing test for someone that can afford a Mac Pro to begin with. The new one, holy smokes! But anyway, pretty fun. There's a robot out there that does a better job of drawing blood than humans, and this is, if you think about this is pretty remarkable. How many of you have been in a lab and they've had to stick it 2 or 3 times? I've kind of been there, before, where you get a technician that's not so good. You're going a little bit dehydrated, and your veins aren't doing as well as they should. So, researchers at Reuters University have created a robot that seems to be able to do a better job than humans. According to the researchers, the robot had an 87 to 97% success rate, depending on how easy the veins were to find. This is versus the healthcare professionals, in which, based on previous studies, had a 73% success rate with patients with visible veins and 60% success rate without palpable veins. So, interesting. But you still have, sounds like, about a 1 in 5 chance of having to get stuck twice. Sometimes you get a technician that is just fantastic. They do a good job, and you're like, how did they find a vein? They didn't even, you couldn't even see it underneath the skin, but somehow they got a knack for it. They really, really do. But anyway, we've all been stuck and not had a good draw, and that just pisses you off when it happens. It really, really does. And there's a new website that I found here called Protocol. Actually, Kirk found protocol.com. And they got a great story about being locked out of the gig economy when background checks get it wrong. And it's basically involving a company called Checkr, Checkr, and giving inaccurate results to background checks. And it's being sued by multiple people because they just keep getting there. It's mostly Uber and Lyft drivers, people who are working gig economy who are trying to make a living, and all of a sudden the background checker says, oh, this person doesn't have a driver's license, in which they really do. And maybe they got a ticket a couple years before for not having possession of their driver's license, but actually had a driver's license. So anyway, long story short here, they've got 80 lawsuits from the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which regulates both credit reports and background checks. And roughly half of those suits have been filed in the last year alone. In court documents, the plaintiffs accused Checkr of a wide range of wrongdoings, from mistaking them with other people to misreporting their offenses, include past criminal activity that is too old to report under the law. One class action suit filed in November concerns Jose Montanez, who was famously exonerated after serving more than 20 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit when he got out and applied to work for Uber. The case alleges he was denied because Checkr reporting included a murder conviction. So it didn't clear. So anyway, bad data in, bad data out. We had a successful launch of the NASA Solar Orbiter. It's on its way to observe the sun's north and south pole. Yes, the sun has north and south pole. Finding a couple articles today. The new budget Moto G series has been announced in the United States. And what's the price going to be? $250 to get into a Moto G Power. More news. We got something from Android Central talking about the best cheap Android phones in 2020. So a link to all those. And also, Samsung is reportedly planning to ship 2.5 million Galaxy Z flip phones this year. Did have an email come in to the show. This comes from, someone on Frontier. Interesting. I don't know if it says his name. I don't want to read his email address out. But anyway, this is from Brad. Todd, thanks for your podcast. Enjoy the tech you talk about each week. I like CBS All Access because I can watch 5 shows. 2 Star Trek, 3 top-type FBI SWAT Blue Bonds without commercials. CBS did say they plan to have Star Trek-type shows on every night of the week. I just finished watching Treadstone TV show on the USA Network. What a show. Lots of plot twist action. Had to buy the season on Amazon as I cut the cord years ago. He says, P.S. Here's an interesting podcast. The Missing Crypto Queen from BBC, based on a true story. And I'll have that link up in the show notes for you. Yes, I will make a donation soon. Brad, thank you so much. Thank you for your comment. And so here's what I did, Brad. On your recommendation, I went ahead and signed up for CBS All Access with commercials. I didn't want to pay the $9.99 or whatever, so I did the trial, and I watched the first 2 episodes of Picard. I'd watched the first one on YouTube. It made me mildly enough interested to go ahead and also consider CBS All Access, but you kind of pushed it over the top, and I went and watched episode 2. It's a little slow going. And the plot is, I don't know if it's predictable, but, I'm kind of like, okay, where's the tea leaves going to go here? So interesting, not bad, not fantastic, but it's at least something to keep me interested. So anyway, this is going to bring me to the end of today's show. As a reminder, Wednesday, fly to Los Angeles. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday for Podcast Movement Evolutions. I fly back to Honolulu on Sunday. I'm here Monday and Tuesday, then Wednesday, I believe. Yep. I think Wednesday or Thursday, I fly. What day is look at the calendar here. I fly Thursday the 20th down to Houston. I'm down there Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Then Sunday, I'm back in Michigan. And then I will be probably going, I got to look at my calendar, but probably be going down to Columbus on the 24th or 25th and being there all week. So here's a show schedule. No show this coming Thursday the 13th. There will be a show on 17th on President's Day. And there will be no show on February 20th. And then we'll be back to a normal production the 24th and the 27th of February. And then some more travel after that. We'll talk about it. But anyway, we'll have anyway, so that's the schedule. No show Thursday. Back here a week from today. And then the following week, we'll again off Thursday. So anyway, I hope that you'll stay subscribed and keep following the show. Please definitely take care of our sponsor. If you want to make a donation, I definitely appreciate it. The Saturday show, the new media show, is going to be kind of fun. I'll try to put up on the live.geeknewscentral.com page. If any of you want to watch it, got some good guests, should be entertaining. We'll see if the connection holds. But other than that, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for being part of the family. And geeknewscentral.com/insider is your place to go. And the new lava lamp seems to be working back there. It's making bubbles and stuff is going up and down, so that at least better than the old one that wasn't doing anything. They say they last about a year. And the one that I bought was already they've got a date stamped in the top. So the one I had bought would already set in the in the container for more than a year and a half. This one's newer, so we'll see how long this one lasts. It's only $13 or something like that, so not a big deal. All right, Gary, Mike, Rita, everyone that was checked in today for the show, definitely appreciate you guys being here, ladies being here. But again, I'll be back with you a week from Monday for another show. No show this week because of the trip out to Los Angeles on Thursday. I definitely appreciate your ongoing support for the podcast. It's most greatly appreciated. Get out of here. I got to go pack. Be honest with you, I haven't packed a thing, so that's what I'm going to do tonight, probably up until about midnight. So everyone, thanks, and we'll see you next time here on the Geek News Center podcast. Everyone, take care. Bye-bye.